Your Honor, I think this is premature. We could have taken and for good order, we make the application, we make our application. You give a consultated ruling. I thought that would be more professional and for good order.
I don't know what Mr. Mule thinks is good order if they are conducting themselves unconstitutionally. The order, good order is in the Constitution. It's not found inside a charge sheet. All I'm saying is that this charge sheet should be rejected. You will see duplicity. The accused persons have been held incommunicado and are constitutionally beyond 24 hours. Having been arrested on a Wednesday, they would have been produced in court on Thursday or Friday latest. And lastly, Your Honor, let me say this. My heart is bleeding with that. No, whether you put it or not, I think I need you to understand, Your Honor, with utmost respect, that we are descending into a police state. See, these fellows were brought here very early in the morning. We were lied to that they would be taken to Kahawa. I was in Kahawa. They were brought here, they have been kept in, not in the cells, but in the car, outside, some car. And I personally went there to try to see them. I was denied access. What kind of country are we doing if the court can't take control of itself and its precincts? It's just like Parliament has the privileges that nobody can be arrested within the grounds of Parliament. I think nobody should be given injustice in the grounds of a court premises. These fellows have been denied their justice within court premises, and it is completely unjust. But why then lie to counsel? Why deny them access to counsel?
There's some issue of lying. That is the police. The people who are arrested.
It is important.
They're the one who, if they lie to you that they're taken to Sahara, I think that the one who lied to you. It's supposed to be.
No, Your Honor, I very humbly and respectfully disagree with you. It is important for you to query the police and the prosecution whether they actually say it so that you can decide whether to admit this charge or not.
Also to hear from the prosecution.
Your Honor, with your kind permission, my colleague Mr. Awit will address you, but will also address you. But we'll start with Mr. Awit.
Your Honor, Ms. Kamburugu reminds me that he's also part of the prosecution team. However, Your Honor, with a lot of humility and respect for the learned senior Mr. Ndubi, we will pray that these proceedings be a little more organized, number one. And number two is that Mr. Ndubi should be a little more clear on the nature of the applications he's making. If I got him right, one of the applications learned senior is making is that to reject the charges brought before you. And my understanding is that he's premising that application for rejection on, among other grounds, number one, a question of duplicity of the charges. Mr. Ndubi appears, I'm not sure he'll clarify, to be asking you to reject the charges on the grounds, number one, that they are bad for duplicity, and number two, that there has been a violation of certain fundamental rights and freedoms violation of certain rights, fundamental rights and freedoms under the Constitution of Kenya 2010. And finally, number three, that as we speak, there is no substantive holder of the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. If I got him right, I would like to respond to those three issues. and as I do so, because these are very serious constitutional issues raised by the Learned Council, is that this court can only operate within the confines of its jurisdiction. Your jurisdiction is defined by Section 8 of the Magistrates' Courts Act. And because of the jurisdictional issue, I'll start from that. That section limits your ability to hear, entertain, and or determine 8 of the Magistrates' Court Act 2015. That for good order, you can only hear or entertain and determine issues relating to alleged violation of fundamental rights and freedoms limited to Article 25A and B. Article 25A and B of the Constitution. And so that with a lot of empathy and sympathy, anything outside that falls out of your jurisdiction, and a proper application on the basis thereof is vested in the High Court by dint of Article 1653 of the Constitution. Having said so, the officers of the Director of Public Prosecutions, or said differently, the mandate of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions is exercised directly by the Director of Public Prosecutions under Article 157(1), or in terms of delegated authority by officers appointed, including the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions. We have 2 of them before you this morning, and the signer, if that were an English word, of the charges before you, the approver of the charges, Mr. Murugu, who sits before you this morning. To that extent, the charges were properly reviewed and approved. And the validity of the charges as far as the existence of a substantive holder of the office does not arise. For clarity, the departure of Mr. Nordin Haji from the office of the DPP did not invalidate the authority of the officers of the ODPP. As correctly noted by Mr. Ndubi, the authority of the officers of the DPP is granted by the Constitution and the law being the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions Act 2012, and does not arise from Mr. Nordin Haji or the holder of the office. On the issue of the alleged violation of constitutional rights, including holding any of the accused or any of the suspects, before they have taken charges, incommunicado, while we sympathize again, those are issues that this court cannot listen to because you lack jurisdiction, and with that you have the downing tools. And finally, the most important question is whether or not you can reject these charges because of the invalidity of the charges, to wit duplicity. Mr. Ndubi has not described to you how the charges before you are bad for duplicity. Nothing at all, apart from the statement that the charges are bad for duplicity, has been told to you. In response, the charges before you are founded on known provisions of the Penal Code, constitutional to say the least. None of them has been declared unconstitutional. And to that extent, you have proper charges based on the law, a law known in Kenya as required under Article 52 of the Constitution. Further, under Article 89.5 of, Section 89.5 of the Criminal Procedure Code, 89.5, which is the only provision this court would invoke to reject charges. The only reason you could reject charges is that the charges do not disclose an offense known in law. Count 1 is founded on section 89(1) of the Penal Code. Count 2 on section 308(1) of the Penal Code. Count 3 on section 511 as read with 510 of the Public Order Act. Count 4, which may be the newest of the charges, is under section 4A of the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act as amended in 2022. And finally, count 5 is brought under section 77(1), which has been subject of constitutional litigation prior. And the court upheld that that section 773 is constitutional within Kenya. Similar to section 5, which also has been subject of litigation and has been found to be sound. To that extent, you have proper charges before you. But finally, even if there were alleged, violations of fundamental rights and freedoms as alleged by counsel, then the only remedy would not be to reject the charges, but to seek constitutional litigation and damages before the High Court of Kenya under Article 165. Having said that, we humbly ask you that for good order, let us proceed to take the plea and then handle the issues arising after we've taken the plea. Thank you.
I want 2 points, Your Honor. One, all the 5 prosecutors appearing before you are duly gazetted to conduct prosecutions. And consequently, by virtue of that prosecution, that gazettement, they are properly before you, they properly approved charges and filed them.
This officer is harassing the land, even now. He's receiving his medicine and he wants to take it away. I don't know what his problem is. This is medicine. You are not a doctor to confirm. No, it's incorrect. He has just received his medicine and he's being taken away from him by his fellow.
Dealing with one thing. Those are other things to attend to. Let us have some order. If he has been given medicine to take, let him take his medicine. Why do you give him to take medicine? Prosecutor, Mr. Mungiki, can you just tell the police? If he has been told, if his drugs is taking that drug, let him take his drugs, please.
Yeah, it should be under that will finish in this process. We are sorry for that. You are gazetted. You urge the court to take judicial notice to such gazetted. 2, the office of Director of Public Prosecution is an independent office within the meaning of Article 248(1) of the Constitution, which lists independent office. 248 of the Constitution, which is a list of commissions and independent offices, but you will note that the office of the DPP is not listed. But that article says, except to the extent this Constitution provides otherwise. So the question is, does this Constitution provide otherwise? The answer is yes. Article 157. Article 157 sub-article 11 provides that the Director of Public Prosecutions shall not be under the control or direction of any person or authority. This means he is independent, and that brings the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions within the purview of Article 248(1). So we are an independent office. Being an independent office, under Article 253 of the same Constitution, the office enjoys perpetual succession. The office enjoys perpetual succession, and consequently, the departure of Mr. Nuruddin Andi as the Director of Public Prosecutions does not mean that the office ceases to exist or to function. Lastly, we urge the court to make a finding that all the allegations by learned counsel have been made from the bar. They are not substantiated. They are not on oath. And we cannot vouch for their correction. These are just mere allegations from the bar. We urge the court to order that the proper forum for all those arguments is the High Court, not the Holy Court. We urge the court again in order that we take plea and we make the other applications. Thank you.
I'm saying,
I'm already replying to points.
I didn't name my absolute, but he has not repeated what Mr. Maina said, because if we are going to do that,
I'm not going to repeat anything. What I'm saying,
yes,
Your Honor, is that number one, this country is a democracy. I was saying to independent officers under Article 243. Look at under 249 A and C. Those commissions and independent officers have to protect the sovereign power of the people of Kenya. Those commissions and independent officers have to promote the democratic values in the society of Kenya. Those commissions are not supposed to be subject to any other agency or authority. So what we are saying is contextualize these constitutional values.